As Gate River Run gets closer and closer, I know a lot of you folks are into the 6-mile days or your 7-mile days as you're gearing up for that 9.33-mile run. And I'll tell you, a lot of folks have asked me, what were you eating for the days that you were out doing those endless miles of training for the ultra marathon? And I tell them, I was eating sweet potato pork hash. I'm not kidding. This is my either go-to meal before or my go-to meal after a run. It's got the right amount of fats, it's got the proteins, it's got a nice flavor. Oh, and here's the best part. It only takes one skillet, and that's what we're throwing down coming up on Culinary Nunnsense. This really has become quite the staple here in the Nunn household, whether it's before a run, after a run, sometimes even for dinner or for breakfast. This is just a versatile pork hash. Starts off with some fresh ground pork into a hot pan. We're going to put this in, and because pork's got its own fat, we're going to let some of that fat render out. It'll help cook some of the other vegetables that we're going to add to our hash. Once our pork starts to loosen up and the fat starts to render, let's go ahead and add some of the vegetables. And we're going to add the ones that we want to caramelize first. So that's going to be, in this case, some of the rough chopped onion. I'm going to put in about a half of a rough chopped sweet onion and about one medium sweet potato. You can also use yams, or if you've been shopping around, maybe you've seen some of the new versions of these. There's white sweet potatoes, there's garnet, there's some Japanese varieties that are here locally. You can find those. They all work well in this dish. Give it a little jostle so everything nestles down nice and tight, gets next to the heat. And here's something that you normally don't see when you're cooking a hash, but because we've added sweet potatoes to it and they take a little bit more time, we're going to dome this for a little bit, which basically means we're going to trap in the heat, the steam, and allow all of that to cook together, hastening the product so that we can eat it a little bit quicker. Let's release our steam trap there. That's our lid, also known as doming, which is basically trapping that heat, the steam, to get our potatoes to cook a little bit faster. The onions, the pork, all of that's looking good, some color in there. So let's add the rest of our bell pepper, including the ones that tried to escape here. We'll stir this together and let our bell pepper cook through, and that is pretty much going to wrap up what is our power-packed, protein-heavy, carbohydrate-rich running fuel, or Cindy and I like to call it pork hash. There you have it, steaming hot and power-packed with everything you need to get your run on. Even if you're not a runner, this thing here is just a nice hearty breakfast. Keeps you going all the way through lunch. Don't forget, breakfast is one of the most important meals of the day. This one, you get your carbohydrates and a nice dense carbohydrate from your sweet potatoes. You get protein and some good fat from the pork, and you get some nice background flavors from the yellow bell pepper and, of course, those now caramelized onions. But when it comes to a simple one skillet dish that's ready for the road, maybe ready for the lunchbox, ready for breakfast or dinner, I think if you get yourself some ground pork, some sweet potatoes, a bell pepper, color your preference, an onion, and about 20 minutes of cooking time, you too will have a meal that will keep you up and moving, and you'll also say, wow, for an energy-packed pork dish, there is none better.